Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday evening, December the 4th, 2022. I hope everyone is safe and doing as well as possible. And another week just raced by for me, and here we are, getting close to the end of this year. I just can't believe it. It's just flown by so fast. And we're still here in spite of everything. So I'd like to welcome everyone to the show tonight. This will be my weekly update that I'll be putting on YouTube. We're going to look at climate-related items and methane and sea ice and earthquakes and the Mauna Loa volcano specifically. So, like I said, I hope everyone is doing as well as possible and hanging in there. That's all we can do. Uh-oh, I didn't mean to do that. Here we go. Gotta go all the way around. Look at all those whites in Australia. Okay, so right now we're going to start out with the items on Climate Reanalyzer, starting with the air temperature for the maximum level for today. And here over the Arctic, you see the purples, bright purple, and that's about minus 30 C. And then you see blues and even greens coming up into the Arctic region, and you'll be shocked to see how high this is on 2 meter temperature anomaly. And there's cold air coming down into the US and see coming down over all of Russia. The whites are 40 C or higher, or about 100 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. So down here in southern Brazil, here's some in Africa, and over half of Australia there. Here's 2 meter temperature anomaly for today, and this has been going up in the Arctic for the past few days, and every day is higher than the day before. And so we're getting into reds and pinks, specifically over this Chukchi Sea area, and see over Alaska and Siberia. And also reds over this North Kara Sea and coming up to Franz Josef Land, and then browns all around that. So moving into the pink even, we're seeing about 20 to 24 C higher than normal up here. And see all the blues coming down. That's the cold air, because there's no jet stream anymore. It's just these weird looking loops that does not hold any cold air in at the Arctic, very little. And see all the blue from Siberia all the way across to Norway. Deep blues. Africa, especially northern Africa, is heating back up, moving into the browns. And Australia, see, you've got browns. And the Antarctic has some browns too. And here's our overview. Worldwide, we're up 0.47 C higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is up 0.6 C. The Arctic is up 6.41 C. I can't remember it being this high in a long time. The Antarctic is also up 1.11 C. The southern hemisphere is up 0.32 C. And the tropics are up 0.28 C. So first of all of these regions are higher than normal. And we also have the Arctic and the Antarctic both higher than normal. And I think I heard it on a video or somewhere, that when you have both poles higher than normal, then that's a sign that there's just overheating of the planet with both poles up like that. And so we've had this for quite a while now, the last 2 or 3 weeks. Here's precipitation in clouds. We can see green, the rain coming up beside Norway. And this week we had green coming up to the southern edge of Greenland. And the green is rain, the blue is snow. And see, over this Chukchi Sea area, we've got the blue is snow, and this kind of lavender color is rain-snow mix. So that means it's warm, you know, if it's rain-snow mixed. If it's not all snow. So that's really not good. Especially with the Arctic trying to do its refreeze. It's kind of struggling. And then we've got rain coming up to Alaska there. Anyway, here's the global view, the flat view. And we've got down here at the Weddell Sea, we've got pink, and that's freezing rain. And so again, that is showing warm temperatures to have freezing rain. And you know, the sun has just come up down there, and to already be seeing freezing rain at the edge of the Weddell Sea is not good. We'll probably be seeing all kinds of rain down here in the Antarctic as their summer progresses. Things have shifted so much. Here are the jet loops. There's no stream here. Look at this. Isn't this crazy? Loop and loop. And look at this. Look how it goes all the way up and down. And then, remember I'd been talking about the loops switching from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere and so forth. Well, we saw it do this week, and it's still doing it. See this one here? This is coming across the equatorial Pacific region, and here's a line coming down from the northern hemisphere and the line coming up from the southern hemisphere. But earlier this week we saw it actually swoop down from the northern hemisphere, and then it went all the way down and switched to the southern hemisphere. So I'm thinking as things get worse and more chaotic that is just going to be all over the map. We won't know what to expect, especially if we're already seeing this crazy looping like this. I don't know, it's like every day when I look at this, it's worse than the day before. And here's sea surface temperature anomaly, and this is for yesterday, and we still have browns up here in the North Atlantic, the Barents Sea, Kara Sea, and along the Russia and Norway coastlines. We still have a little wisp of brown, little tan area here in the Chukchi Sea. And then see this Bering Sea is all in the brown. So things are heating up over there. And here are the hot spots off the coast of North America. And see the Gulf of Mexico is getting deeper brown. Also around this Baja Peninsula, that's all turning brown as well. And the dark brown is about 3C higher than normal. The kind of medium brown is 2C higher. The reddish brown is 4C. This bright red is 5C higher than normal. And when you move into the pink area, which we don't have a lot of that, but we do occasionally have it, that's 6C higher than normal. And we're seeing a couple of pinks here. Just off the coast of the US there. And here's the flat view. And there's no overview. They took it away when they upgraded the website. And I used the overview a lot. So wish they'd bring that back. And through the Atlantic, it's almost all some shade of brown, and it's heating up here, just off the east coast of South America, and just south of Africa too. In the Indian Ocean, we can see that's heating up. Here's the Pacific view. Here's our blob in the North Pacific, and see the reds coming in around Japan. And here's the Philippines, and you can see dark browns around there. And then from Papua New Guinea all the way across the Pacific is in browns, deep browns. And this blue ridge, that's the equatorial Pacific region. So that's colder than normal. But supposedly we're going to be moving into an El Nino in January. And so that means warmer temperatures. So we'll be watching all of that. Oh, before we do methane, I want to do the rest of the CAMS data here. Look at this. This is sulfur dioxide today, and this Mauna Loa is still erupting, and releasing huge amounts of sulfur dioxide. And you can see it's this original cloud has engulfed almost all of the U.S., all of Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico, and then it's already across the Atlantic Ocean over to Africa. And here's a plume that got swept up in the jet loop that's going up the coast up to the Baffin Bay. So I've been watching this and reporting on this to my Subscribestar members. That's insane. It's really holding up. And then our other high reading here is down here in Colombia. It's right on the border between Colombia and Ecuador. Here it is at 500 HPA. Now that's about halfway up in the atmosphere, so it's still hanging around at the higher levels here. See, and all the way over to Africa. Here's the Pacific view. Look at the rings. There's that's force. You know, that's the force of the volcano that's causing these rings. And here's 500 HPA. This just looks like a Van Gogh painting to me. You know, I think someone needs to do climate art and use pictures from from cams as a background. I think that would be interesting. Isn't that wild? So there's that. And here's the ozone hole, what's left of it over the Antarctic, and it's shrinking way down and is only down 2 levels in the danger zone inside this dark black line. And see, the southern part of the Antarctic it's got thicker methane now. But as soon as you see a shade of green, that's moving down away from a healthy layer. The solid yellow is 300 Dobson units. Then you start going down. So we still have, like, the northern half of the continent still thinner, and even some in the danger zone over the Weddell Sea and the north end. Here's the Arctic ozone, and see this thin area coming up from Iceland all the way to Franz Josef Land, and then also on land at Russia. I'm thinking all this is from methane. The high methane readings will eat up, literally eat up the ozone. And then see these heavy readings, and I really think this is from pollution. I'm not for sure, but that's just what it looks like to me. Here's the global view, and here's our blob at the bottom, and see the break here, and then we've got green all the way up. All of South America is in some greens. About half of the US is in greens. All of Mexico and Central America, a lot of Africa, a lot of the Middle East, and all these greens up here in Russia, and then India, and moving over to China. And we've got aqua here, which is thinner than the greens in the West Pacific, and then greens down to Australia. And that's all of those. Now we'll move on to methane. I have 2 days worth of NOAA methane data to show you guys tonight. We're going to look at Friday and Saturday, and remember it's being posted on a different part of their website, and it's called the heat model, HEAP, and we're tracking 2 levels now, the 1000 millibar level and the 487 millibar level. And they started the new the new model at the end of October. So we're having to start from scratch with the methane, with my data gathering on the NOAA data. So here's Friday the 2nd in the morning. The Met-B satellite at the 1000 millibar level, which is equivalent to surface level. The mean or average was 1840 parts per billion. The high reading was 2241. In the afternoon, the mean was 1840 again, and the high reading was 2277. On the Met-C satellite, back to the morning, the mean was 1843, and the high reading was 2205. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1846, and the high reading was 2116. So we'll look at so for the 3rd, that averaged out to be 1842.25, and that was an increase over the day before of 2 parts per billion. And for the 3rd, it came out to be 1841.5, and a decrease of 0.75. Let's see what's gone on this week. Here we were in our show last Sunday with the Saturday data of 1841.25, and we had a decrease that week of 1.75. So that's Saturday. Sunday, no change. Monday, it went down 1. Tuesday, it went down 0.5. Wednesday, it went up 1.25. Thursday, it went down 0.75. Friday was a big jump up of 2 parts per billion. And then Saturday, it went back down to 0.75, giving us an overall slight increase, not decrease, increase this week of 0.25. And I've started the chart over here, and here's our weekly data that we've gotten so far, starting with October 29th. And here's what's happened. And we were at 1,844. And so it should be going down. We're in the cooling season now for methane until, oh, who knows, sometime in January. Sometimes it starts going up again in January, and then it kind of idles and then starts going up again later on. Sometimes not until February. So, I mean, this is not how it used to be. It used to go down starting in sometime in October until around April of the following year. So, you know, the cooling periods are becoming shorter, and then when we cool, we don't go down as low as it did the year before. So it's on an exponential rise. And like what we saw, let me see, I've got everything here. Like what we saw, remember this. That's what it used to look like. Oh, here we go. Here was our last one. Methane 1. Yeah, see? This was 3 years worth. From March the 1st of 2019 to October 22nd, 2022. So you can see the general trend. And we'll see that even though we're on different levels here. So here's where it went up this week. Now, I think I messed this up. Okay. Now we'll move on to okay. What was I doing? Oh, I'm lost. I am lost. Sorry. Here, let's go. I didn't show this one for the 3rd in the morning for the 1000 millibar Met-Op B. The mean or average was 1838. The high reading was 2171. In the afternoon, the mean was 1841. The high reading was 2186. On the Met-Op C in the morning, the mean was 1844. The high reading was 2196. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1844 and the high reading was 2263. So we already saw that. Now we'll move on back to Friday for the 487 millibar level, which is almost 500 HPA, so it's almost the equivalent. It's about halfway up in the atmosphere. So back to the Met Op B in the morning. The mean was 1909. The high reading was 2364. In the afternoon, the mean was 1912. The high reading was 2376. On the Met Op C in the morning, the mean was 1879. The high reading was 2175. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1879. And the high reading was 2167. You see all these bright pink areas. That's the range of the highest readings. And right down here. And the range is between 2,000 parts per billion and whatever this high number is up here. Oh. And let's see, I'm getting lost. So that was Friday for the 487. Now we'll look at Saturday the 3rd for 487 millibar level, Met Op B. The mean was 1910. The high reading was 2365. In the afternoon, the mean was 1912. And the high reading was 2328. On the Met Op C in the morning, the mean was 1881. The high reading was 2155. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1879, and the high reading was 2287. So that's all of those. But, okay, here is the 487 reading. The second averaged out to be 1894.75. That was an increase over the day before of 0.75. And the third averaged out to be 1895.5. And that was another increase of 0.75. So let's see what happened this week. Okay, here we were in our show last Sunday. The Saturday data was, we ended up at 1898.75 for the week, and we had gone down 3.75 that week. And then Sunday it went down 1.5. Monday down 2.25. Tuesday down 0.5. Wednesday up 0.25. Thursday down 0.75. Friday up 0.75. And Saturday up 0.75, giving us an overall decrease for this week of 3.25. So this level went down and the other level went up slightly. And methane gathers at different densities at different levels of the atmosphere. And in the winter time, it likes to gather in the colder regions at this level. So here's our chart. See, headed down. So here it was on October 29th, we were at 1902, and then it went down 0.5 that first week, and then it shot up to 0.75 the next week, and then it's been going down since then. 1.75 the next week, 3.75 the next week, and then 3.25 this week, ending at 1895.5. And so we'll just keep adding to the charts, and they'll end up looking like a magnificent work of art before too long. Now we're going to look at the CAMS methane data. This is from the Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services out of the EU. We're going to look at Saturday, December 3rd, Arctic view and surface level. Here's our color ledger at the bottom. So the data is for Saturday, and forecast period is Sunday through Wednesday. So what we're seeing here is the methane levels are higher up here in the Arctic. See, especially like our background levels, they're moving up into like even the yellow-green or green-yellow. It's hard to tell which is which. The green-yellow is 2,000 parts per billion. That's this color here. See it swooping across. And then the yellow-green, which is more like this color over here, is 2,020 parts per billion. Komsomolets is still billowing, and you can see it streaming up still from Europe, the UK, and here in Norway over to Russia. Look at these high readings. And then the interior of Russia is really coming back to life here. And see, we've seen yellows even coming up here in the Laptev Sea and this East Siberian Sea. This is coming up through the sea ice. And see, we've got even yellows here from over the Canadian archipelago. Look at Iceland, it's got a little spot there. Little red spot there. Okay, now we'll hop to the North Pole view. Here we go. Oh, and we had some snow this week here in the Reno area. And it's been really, really cold. Really cold. So, winter is here. This happened last year too, where it got really cold in November and the first part of December, and we had snow in November, and then some in December, and then nothing in January, and it warmed up. So, you know, the seasons are all messed up too. So, just look at this stream off of Europe, France, the UK, Spain. Look at this. See it streaming west across the Atlantic. A big blob. Here's the Mediterranean. Down here. Here's the Persian Gulf. India, you're filling up and spilling over these coastal edges even more so. Here, especially here in the Bengal Bay. China, you're filling up, and you have dark waves coming out too. See? And then these greenish yellow waves, you know, we're just under the dome. And then here in the U.S. from about Texas east is pretty blobby looking to me. And then the waves. Now I want to show, let's stop that. I want to show the Antarctic view. And this will become more interesting in the next week or so. So here's the Western Peninsula, and here's South America. And the main background color is now going down to this 1840 parts per billion. We have a little bit of the 1860 left over, but it's dissipating as things cool down here. Then the methane starts going down. And what we'll see is once this whole background color is 1840. Yeah, that lower number. Once it's down to the lower number rather than 1860, we'll be able to notice the difference in the methane coming up around the coastlines, around the Brunt ice shelf especially, and Western Peninsula, and also at the Amory ice shelf, and who knows, maybe more. Those are the typical areas where we see methane coming up. Okay, here's the global view. And see this navy blue creeping in. That's the next level down for methane. That's 1820. And you can see a definite demarcation between the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. And it's just above the equator. And higher readings right off the bat. I wonder if, like, someone who was living in one of these heavy methane areas, if they were able to move or be able to even just go to the southern hemisphere and get some of this lower methane reading in the air they're breathing in, I wonder if they'd be able to tell a difference. I would think it wouldn't be as dense. The air would feel lighter and it wouldn't feel as dense. I don't know. Okay, now we'll look at 500 HPA. And this 500 HPA equates with the 487 millibar reading on cams. Look at all of this. Solid. Canada, Russia, Europe. That's 500 HPA. And then total column. This is getting pretty shocking because we're seeing the highest readings also here in Europe and also in China. So there's that. Now, I wanted to show also earthquakes. Oh wait, oh no, let's go over Mauna Loa. Here's the eruption today. Look at that. No wonder we're seeing sulfur dioxide spewing up. Okay. I've been watching this volcano discovery reporting and posting their updates, and so their most recent update was from today, Sunday, December 4th, and this was at 7:57 UTC time. And it says Mauna Loa Volcano, Hawaii, eruption update, lava flows slowly advance towards Saddle Road. So it's moving slow, but it's not stopping. So let's see what this says. The eruption continues without significant changes. Only Fissure 3 is active and feeds the lava flow, advancing northwards towards the Saddle Road, from where its most advanced front was approximately 2.3 miles or 44 kilometers away last evening. Although eruption rates remain high, the flat ground is likely to slow down the progress of the flow. During the past 24 hours, the lava flow advanced at an average rate of about 40 feet per hour, 1.3 meters per hour. The HVO, that's what the HVO reported. Now look at this. If you want a preview of what hell it's going to look like, I wonder if it's going to look like this. And here's another picture. So and there's here's some more. I'll leave the link below if y'all want to check this out. But it's still erupting, hasn't stopped. Alright, now it's time for sea ice. So we're going to close that. And we'll start with our slideshow from the images that I save from Climate Reanalyzer. I save these every day. This is sea ice concentration and snow cover. So here over the Arctic, this is the sea ice concentration, and we can see darker blue here just above Greenland, and still some darker blue here in the Beaufort Sea. So well, we saw the air temperature, the 2-meter temperature anomaly, 6.41 C, higher than normal, and especially the highest readings were just north of the Bering Strait, coming in here, and then here's just west of Svalbard, and so we've got a little fringe coming in around Novaya Zemlya. This east edge on Greenland, it's not looking too good. Here's the Baffin Bay, here's the Hudson Bay. So let's go through our slideshow. Here we were last Sunday, the 26th. Oh, and I forgot to point out that the white on land is snow of at least 1 centimeter or thicker. All of Russia's in the snow. Okay, here we go. Here's last week, 27th. Here we go. Here's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, did you see the shift here on Wednesday? That's breaking up there. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then back to today. Not much change, is there? So we'll close that, and then now the Navy website, I couldn't get to it today, but I'd saved yesterday's data, so we'll use that. And this is the Arctic sea ice thickness model from the U.S. Navy. And here's our chart on the right. And so you can see it thickening up, where the purple is turning to dark purple and even to blues now, kind of inching out from the aqua piece. This is what was left over during our melt season. And as we run this, you'll see this tail, you know, pulling away and kind of moving down. Very little red, just a little line here on the north coast of Greenland, and here on this coast of Canada. Here's the 30-day animation, and again this was updated to day before yesterday, so the data goes back 3 weeks and forecast goes out to Friday. So let's zoom in and watch this. Not much change on the aqua piece, is there? And see, this west end is still creeping down to the Beaufort Sea. So there's that. And here's the Beaufort Sea ice thickness for yesterday. And here's Canada, and Alaska's down here. And here's our west edge, western point, where this is wanting to break off. Here's a little line of green. And here's the 30-day animation, again updated to yesterday. So the forecast goes out to Friday. So there's that. Here's the Antarctic today. And look at all these white spaces around the coast. Also on the east side, and also this white area on the north side, and so on. And then here's our 30-day animation, and the data goes back 3 weeks ago, and forecast goes out to next Thursday. Friday. I'm sorry, I'm getting really tired. It's like no matter what I do to start trying to get ready earlier for the show on Sundays, I always get a late start, and it was about 8 o'clock when I started tonight. And we've been going 57 minutes. So, lots of whites there. And then these light lavenders are taking over the blues and so on. Okay, here's National Snow and Ice Data Center for the Arctic sea ice concentration. This is for yesterday. And see all these blues. It had been more concentrated than before this week, but that's that warm air up there that's causing it to melt. And the same thing with the Beaufort Sea. See, it's trying to freeze more concentrated. And here's the extent chart, and this blue line is this year, the dotted line is 2012, and we can see that we are below the 2012 extent for the same time of year, and so it's kind of stalling out, it looks like. And then here's the Antarctic, and see all the open water around the coastlines here and how much it's melting. And here's their melting. And the blue line is this year, this darker line is last year, and we just met up with it yesterday. So we're even with last year and below the median. And that's all of those. Now we'll move on to NASA Worldview, and starting here in the Arctic, and this big black circle, that's the area that's in the dark now for the winter, and just this tippy point of Greenland is still in the sunlight, but the whole rest of it is in the dark. So let's turn on our sea ice concentration layer. Here we can see there are actually holes forming in the ice. When you start see the colors going down to green and yellow, that's melting. Those are holes there. And here's where it's trying to freeze solid, and see the white. We want it to be white, and that means that it's solid ice. There are no breaks, but anywhere you have even a shade of pink, you're going to have breaks in the ice. It's not just solid. So let's see what we did this week. And so here we were on the 27th. Here's what it looked like, and see, this was on this east side. This was frozen a lot better, and we're seeing the Beaufort Sea is still struggling there. So let's click through. Here's the 28th, 29th, 30th. Look at this. And there was a big storm that came up on that day. And 31st, December 1st. And see, that's melting. And the 2nd. And here we are in the 3rd. So look at the difference between yesterday and today. Look at this. So we've got some melting going on, it looks like. Okay. And I haven't even looked at this nighttime layer to see if it's even useful to us today. So we'll look at this. So here's Greenland, and can't see much. Just not distinct at all. Okay, here's the nearest strait, and here's the ice. The dark area is like open water. See the dots on land? That's where there are houses or settlements or something. Look at that. There's a dot. There's a light. And let's come around. Can't see much at all. Here's the Beaufort Sea. It's almost, you know, some kind of haze or something over it. Okay, here's the sea ice. And here's Barrow, Alaska. There's the sea ice there. Here's the Chukchi Sea. Here's the Bering Strait. And then where it's so bright, you know, sometimes this model is good, but more times than not, this layer is, can't see much. Here's sea ice. Here's Severnaya Zemlya. This is Komsomolets. Okay, here's Novaya Zemlya. And here's the little fringe of ice coming down. Here's the Yamal Peninsula. Look at all those lights. And here's Franz Josef Land. Here's the eastern edge of the ice. And then it comes down here. Here's Svalbard. And hard to see what's going on there really. There's the ice. We're back at Greenland. Yeah, this layer is difficult to make anything out. So let's turn that off. That's about all we could make out up there. We'll go to the Antarctic. Sun's up. And gonna start over here on this western edge, and we're tracking my favorite iceberg right now, A76. He's right here, still hanging out. Here's Coronation Island over here. So let's see what he did this week. So we'll go back to last Sunday. Here we were on the 27th. Here he was. Just kind of a Lone Ranger out here. So let's see what happened. There's the 28th. Okay, it's rotating to the right. 29th under the clouds. 30th. 31st. Kind of stationary. I mean the first. Here's the second. And now it's rotating back to the left on the 3rd. And here on the 4th. Let's see. So, just, it's kind of stuck. I don't know what's going on there. And here's the Western Peninsula. Here's the Weddell Sea. You can see the sea ice. See where it's coming apart here. Here's the Larsen Sea ice shelf. And here's the open water, where the sea ice is melted there. And I wanted to come on around. Look at all this open water. This is on this western edge. Not much ice, huh? Oh wow. Look at this. Okay. Here's Pine Island Glacier, and this is the flow of the glacier. Here's open water, and it looks like it's going to crack off along that line where it had calved off, 2 or 3 years ago, a couple of years ago. Here's the sea ice. You can see it breaking up. Look at this. And this is the Thwaites Glacier, also known as the Doomsday Glacier. And look at this ice just breaking off. And this tongue, look at it. Look at that. It's just diminishing. Just going away. Just here's a big piece left, and another big piece, and then the rest of it, you know, it's hasta la vista. See all the pieces of ice. Well, that's not good. Let's look at, here's yesterday. Look, no clouds. That's the actual texture of the ice. See how bumpy it is? See, just hanging on right there. This is crazy. Look at all this open water. Okay, we'll go back to today. And then coming on around, open. See, it's melted all around the coast here. And here's the Weddell Sea. Here's the Weddell Ice Shelf. Look at all this open water. Here's the ice. This is melting fast. Here's Ross Island. There's Mount Erebus. And see, this is open water there. That's melting. Look at that. And the ice comes pretty far out down here, down there, and then the southeastern edge. Now this is where it had been raining. Not this week, but I think it was the week before. Here's the Totten Glacier. It's under a cloud. Here's yesterday. Here we go. Here's the second. You know, it's just cloudy all week, it looks like. Here's the best image on the second. Let's see. There's the water. There's that. This is open. It's open to the coastline. And coming up this eastern edge. Not much ice here. Yeah, well, we're seeing lots of changes just in 1 week, aren't we? Here's the Amory ice shelf. Look, no clouds. And here's the water. Look at this. Wow. See the blue there? And coming on up, open, open, and now here's the north side. And then come around the west side. Here's the Brunt ice shelf. And it's this whole area up. This is an area where we're prone to see methane coming up on cams. Oh, too cloudy. Can't see what's going on. So it's got a big cloud over it. And here's the Weddell ice shelf. Right here. Here's the Weddell Sea. That's coming apart, see? And there's that. Now, we've got some earthquakes to look at. Got just a couple of pictures I took today. And 194 in the last 24 hours here on USGS. These are 5s. There are 2 in the 5s range here at the Reykjanes Ridge, and we had some big ones down here at Tonga. 6 something. We'll look at that in a second. These big dots are 5s, and look, here's one in Africa, and then the smaller ones are 4s. So we're seeing a lot of activity there. Okay, down here at Tonga, 6.7 near Hihifo, Tonga, 36 kilometers deep. This came in at 11:24 this morning, Pacific time. And then a 4.9 and a 5.1. So that's big. That's a big earthquake. And here are these 2 in the middle of the Atlantic at the Reykjanes Ridge of 5.2 and 5.4. And that's all those pictures. Now we'll look at the website. Now look at this one. This is unusual. Right here, 5.1, South Atlantic Ocean. This came in at 6:43 tonight, and it's not on the red line, and it's just east of the red line, which is the tectonic plate line. And it's in between that and South America. Normally we don't see them there. If we see them in the ocean, they're usually right on or near a plate line. And here in Africa, 5.5, Lamborghini, Gabon, and this was only 3.6 kilometers deep. So not very deep at all. And then all these 4s and 5s. In Indonesia, here's one 5.2 Bay of Bengal, and so on. Here's 5.2 Mariana Islands. Here's a new one, 5.7 Lata Solomon Islands, and so on. Let's look at Hawaii, and it's got 44 today. You can see the movement is spreading out, and we still have a lot of movement here at Mauna Loa, with a lot going along with the volcano erupting, and Pahala, and also at Kilauea. So it's kind of spreading out there. And up here, Alaska and the Aleutian Islands, 54 here today. That was a 4.5 at the Rat Islands. And so on and so forth. I wanted to show, well, first of all, we've got some in northwest Georgia, which is kind of an unusual place. We've got 4 stacked up here at Dalton, and let's see, yeah, 2.2, 2.3, 2.0, and 1.5. And we don't see them here very often. There's a couple in Oklahoma. West Texas has calmed down. 3.5 and 2.8 near Toya. Now you have to remember that this is a weekend, and the earthquake makers usually don't work on the weekends, i.e. construction and quarry blasts and things like that. And so that's why we see fewer earthquakes on the weekends. It makes a difference. So this is kind of troubling to see only 15 small earthquakes here in Southern California. Normally we have about 25 to 30 as an average down here. So it makes me think that pressure is building to be released. And geysers had 22 today, and again, that's kind of an okay average number, but and then we've been having some up here right on the Nevada border with Oregon, and they're still coming in. See? At Fort Bliss, we've got 4 here. 2.9, 1.9, 2.5, and 2.2. And shallow is 1.9, was only 1.8 kilometers deep, and so on. So I don't know what's going on there. Yellowstone is silent. See, nothing. Pacific Northwest, that's almost nothing. 2.0 here at Molalla, or Molalla, however you say it. And okay, we need to look at 7 days, all magnitudes. Look at this. 2,174 this week. And look at all on these plate lines. Here in the south, look, it's just clusters, and Hawaii was just going crazy with everything. 487 at Hawaii this week. Look at that. And it's still going, it hasn't stopped. Look at all of these right in the crater of Mauna Loa. Look at that. So, let's see what else. Oh yeah, Canada had some unusual earthquakes up here. Peace River in Alberta, and we're showing 6 here, and the largest one was this 5.3 that came in on the 29th. So fours and then that 5.3, and we hardly ever see any there. It's just not an area where we see them. Look at on this Juan de Fuca plate, right at the base and over on the fulcrum. 6 here this week. This 3.1 was the largest. So there was a lot of movement this week. And that's my report for tonight. And now I'd like to bring the focus back to our spiritual focus. I do believe we are in the end times, and that all this climate chaos and earth changes and stuff, it's all part of the end times and things coming apart. And we're just making our way through the Bible, and we're reading out of the book of Job. I'm doing the book of Job for my Sunday night readings until I finish it. And Job never turned his back on God, even though he was tested and tortured really by Satan. And Satan did everything he could to try and get Job to turn his back on God, and he never did. And we need to be strong like Job is. Job chapter 11. Then answered Zophar the Naamathite and said, Should not the multitude of words be answered? And should a man full of talk be justified? Should thy lies make men hold their peace? And when thou mockest, shall no man make thee ashamed? For thou hast said, My doctrine is pure, and I am clean in thine eyes. But oh, that God would speak, and open his lips against thee, and that he would shew thee the secrets of wisdom, that they are double to that which is. Know therefore that God exacteth of thee less than thine iniquity deserveth. canst thou be searching find out God? Canst thou find out the Almighty unto perfection? It is as high as heaven. What canst thou do? Deeper than hell. What canst thou know? The measure thereof is longer than the earth, and broader than the sea. If he cut off and shut up, or gather together, then who can hinder him? For he knoweth vain men, he seeth wickedness also. Will he not then consider it? For vain man would be wise, though man be born like a wild ass's colt. If thou prepare thine heart, and stretch out thine hands toward him, if iniquity be in thine hand, put it far away, and let not wickedness dwell in thy tabernacles. For then shalt thou lift up thy face without spot, yea, thou shalt be steadfast, and shalt not fear, because thou shalt forget thy misery, and remember it as waters that pass away. And thine age shall be clearer than the noonday. Thou shalt shine forth, thou shalt be as the morning, and thou shalt be secure, because there is hope. Yea, thou shalt dig about thee, and thou shalt take thy rest in safety. Also thou shalt lie down, and none shall make thee afraid. Yea, many shall make suit unto thee, but the eyes of the wicked shall fail, and they shall not escape, and their hope shall be as the giving up of the ghost. Job chapter 11. So he persevered no matter what. He just persevered. And so I'm praying for everyone. If you haven't given your life to Jesus Christ, I highly recommend it. I hope everyone has as good a week as possible. And Lord willing, I'll be back next Sunday and do another update for you all. So I love you all, and I'm praying for you. Until next time, God bless you. Go in peace, and I will talk to you soon. Good night.